Greetings and welcome to Week 4. I'm Stella. This is a virtual celebration of people safe and proudly sponsored by the War. Shows are on YouTube, so if you just one, just search on YouTube for Gold Seal, and that will go far. These are some of the people you might see this year. We've had Brian Turner, Rod Machado, FlightChops, Josh Lauer, Chris Palmer, and world's most heavy flight instructor Greg Brown, and a bunch of other great folks. It's been so much fun, I can hardly stand it. And still looking forward to have Tom Turner tomorrow. And for today, Steve, FlightChops returns, along with a fruit contributor. Now, my friend, mentor, executive of Safe, is it right? So,
yeah, I don't know if I'm taking instruction or getting it, but yeah, it's a great day I've lined up for you today.
Okay, well, the obligatory weather report again in their day here in Atlanta. It's about maybe 70 degrees outside, sun. So, today, what you got up there in New York?
It's actually rainy and probably kind of miserable, I say. No champ weather today.
It's going to be here, not up there.
So, as we're focusing
on fun things. Had been at something different, it had been down there, but I had been booth with Sunny for and I invite people to safepilots.org. Check out your flight so we'll film nation. We'll do a tour. We're handing out some of these here and we asked other fun visitors. It's funny. That was going to save $20 on our Seal Ground School book. That's at groundschool.com. But we did it to the circumstance, give everybody a little expensive route to aviation training. So SNF 20 save you $. So about safe.
Well, we had a lot of story, and I focused on this where we had to make that picture was the East Coast for the Dutch had done a couple years ago. And I don't know put up that slide on Unity. And what they did, because they want to get these roll out, is they knocked 70, I think it's 77 off the selling price is 78 to UnityAviation.com. You'll see this. And basically, just has blown this for some of the East Coast things and you go to Miami, you should go down the coast, they go through Mountain Wall, Maine, to count, I think 5 days, the police sold out. What he did was he put a video of everybody, and they shot every coach, and the code file, they have the actual approaches for to fly. He even put a few red birds, yourself, and you're not being able to find out this gets just into our so if you check it out, you'll see that all. The other thing on mediation coach will see the Pro 365, and if you remember that, this started way back in 2008 when the Red Birds started to come out. Doug Stewart had one at Sun and Fun in 2008, 2009, and the idea was to create a scenario that would challenge the pilot. Because it's very hard to surprise yourself in a simulator. So we created these with a decision. If you go one way, you're going to go the other way. Scenarios are all aligned. The aviation Push 365 program. There's a whole network of Redbirds all over the country where you can fly these and get credit. You can also fly on your own Redbird with instructing credit. So it's a wonderful way, while we're not actually flying planes, to get in there and maintain or improve efficiency and proficiency. Part of what we will do today is try to cover some of these tools that will move you up instead of everyone getting rusty while we're waiting.
Yeah, Doug Stewart was absolutely one of the best instrument instructors around, and he's been doing this a trip for a long time. But I can't imagine to get a study, so I would certainly recommend people take it. You and I had talked, Dave, about discussing proficiency and people's ideas about what proficiency is not. One thing we do not talk many times is the concept of getting for it tests. What they are 70 medically better perception is perfect in other way. And I don't do that. It's not right. The test is just make sure that you study and to know test you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That if that will also get some test in there, qualify for the state. So took the test, he gets 7%. When it's an ADP, this one test obligation is issue a advanced ground instructor certificate. It being qualified as an advanced ground instructor, but obviously to see all test codes of things that he's wrong. There's percent of that obviously, but he's passed mentality. He is now a ground instructor. And so if somebody meets that, if they're absolutely mediocre on every subject, this is probably one of the things you don't realize about answers. It's advanced just that everybody's mediocre and all the bar and our obligation to issue pilot certificate. But there's nothing that addresses delta between mediocre and excellent. And ever why Goal and Safe are at the hit shows like this, because I absolutely on this hustle of every pilot to be pursuing excellence. And as discussed this program, it's really obvious. FlightChops, and we have Patty Wagstaff, two people who really might excellence. They really how to get to be time, just showing up easily, most aggressive, works so hard than anyone you know, which you high level. When I stood on videos on the and I said, for YouTube, but I really do like under probably one of the hardest of any pilot I've seen who's so are really advocates of that.
I'm saying, you talking about that, she thought 7% was adequate because that's what the FAA defines as pass. And this is what she said. She's thinking on and she's finishing it's all done. She's still sees and she's making the QI and energy. Does she defy the airline? Well, it's knowledge. The FAA stands for it's still take that right in. Just the kind of thing that really made my instructor tell students no reason to achieve excellence. Just like the kid one. Now, so that's good saying will not do anything to help with decision making. Also take a program really seminar into your takeoff. And some people think the all kinetic thing that you learn, all stick and rudder seal, that's totally wrong. You have to understand the concepts, physics behind it to actually make things work out. So we took all sorts of case studies, we broke it down, and really this seminar is all about getting material in your head. It's not just about stick and rudder. So again, instruct to hope you start, for the of you who don't know, really knowledge and important piece of puzzle for developing new pilots.
Yeah, absolutely, Russ. I'm so disappointed you weren't able to give that. Was going to be the big stage on the Sun Farm, and I was really looking forward to seeing that. You know, we did the live stream, continue to develop that, and really dug into it. And I was discussing with you every time in 135 environment when we take off, we're required to give a textual briefing on if something happens here, we'll do this. If something happens here, we'll do that. And it's all based on the field we're on, the weather, the conditions, the pilots. And 24% of fatalities are on takeoff initial time and private pilots flight. That's pretty hard to decide, but obviously there's so many challenges there if something happens that people do handle. So, being mentally prepared, having knowledge is critical, and obviously that is one of the chief missions were directed at CIs primarily, but exponentially you reach every pilot with knowledge and excellence. I'm going to talk about a few tools, and we've got another slide to come up, but SIC has an app, which is Speed NACFI. That's Cockpit. And if we're on the other thing that we'll be doing across nice, any stuff you can join, we'll be able to hurdle that's on there. You never track it's probably best on what we mean is the personal was developed. And we're continuing to tweak this and develop it and perfect it. It really is. He makes new shows. Did you see the 3D animation? How we wear it? He continues to improve us. He is excellent. And I embarrass him one more time and say, a guy with a online console doesn't have to do this. Like, he just renewed his master instructor certification. So, whether you know or not, after an instructor gets certificated, all they have to do is a quick for every 2 years and re-certified as a flight instructor. But people really see excellence continuing at the level called a master flight instructor, which Joe in San Hilda. So, what are you, 8 or 9?
It's number 8. They get to 10. Retire. Great program, and it's instructors get in and log out to it because write articles, developmental material, new for that's all it is. Dave, let's make this a test stand. Let's have a wave. You've got more caps over there, Dave?
Yeah, we absolutely do have.
Okay, we'll do one of our goals. You're there. Got T-shirts. We would have done it because we're not there. We're going to give them to you right now. So it's a great aircraft on the back. A lot of fun. Good chat. And I'm going to put a picture of an airplane, and this is the first one list for you guys to booth. Airplane, and we're going to go over and tell them how to for the person who answers who get the ball. You tell us what kind of plane it is. You can write you a T-shirt. If you don't, we'll all have more and try for it. So that phone number is 888-514-1945. I apologize. We have 3. Thank you. So 888-514-1945. And number 3. So put that picture up a little while we web on. Wait for some lucky person to get a T-shirt and a cap. Great for some other out in your yard all by yourself. Good for quarantine outfit. So this was actually a beautiful airplane. Unfortunately, they didn't perform as well as we hoped, but boy, what a great looking airplane. Also, okay, all right, we'll hear somebody, so not so the guys back to me too. All right, so we're going to get a phone call, and what did I talk to just a couple of that here phone call command? Any more about safe and the master flight program? Let's say this. And it means start for the school full access, and when students sign up, they got a student page actually linked to all the students they track, they the program, they integrate type training with their gun program, and it's free instructors. Really, instructors can that. Okay, we call her. Okay, let's look per Russ. Hello. What's Hi.
Yeah, it's Ben.
Your name? Ben Dave. All right, Ben. Well, do you have a name for what that beautiful airplane was?
I'm thinking he's Starship.
You're absolutely right. Somebody a pitch, but yeah, what's our feeling? So, we're going to have Elis Ben at Prize on Gressel Dump. So, right now, Prize on Dump. Just put in there, Craft Starship. It's your name, it's email address, and your shirt size, and we'll get it ringing this week next week. Thanks for waiting. Okay, let's see if we've. Let's give away another one. Dave, what do you think? Shall we go for another obscure airplane, semi-obscure plane? Okay. Plus, Dave's over key over this. Let's set it. We're going to tweak it on and tell us what your call number is going to be. AAA. That's 854-45-3. Call in, give a stab at it. This is the one. All right, so there ain't a bit of play girl. It's a word tighter. It was about a year ago, perhaps, and people, and pieces all out of 100 device and reassembled. It took 10 years or more to put the airplane. It's flying. Glacier, what have they played this? It was a letter and well, there's the go back. Things you identify the plane too. So that airplane is one we're waiting on. We're going to give away a T-shirt. Here's what it looks like. Off you go. Your friend, family, there. So airplane girl. You probably this here. Said it was brought up as a great story by Pettis and I forgot that the groupies got together. Friend George Burns involved. Brett Big Shirt in pieces. Rebuilt this beautiful world. So do we have any? So what kind of 888-945 on 4. Okay. Hey, yes. Yeah. What's your name?
It's Russ from Rob,
how you doing? If you listen to on computer, it's from here phone, or just listen to the phone. Okay, what kind of plan?
That's a 38.
What is? That's a beautiful example of 38. Yeah, it is. It's a 38 calibers machine model, but not so bad. So go. You have a prize at Online Ground School. I put 30 website and for and send us a picture in by the D. Maybe we'll send you something else. All right. Next for B. Thank you. So I'm not sure now.
Okay. But if we can run more on there, it's about a year was no guest and pad. We can bring one hog. There is one
Go for it.
G diagram. And this is something that any constructor can relate, which is like one little effort in the center of the oil. And if you go down here and fly with Patty Wagstaff, you're going to fly in every corner of that envelope, and you'll learn what control recovery looks like. But, we're all guilty of straight and level flying there, and we don't practice enough. So when we get back to flying, I mentioned some good exercises are what we extended envelope exercises Safe has developed, and we do turning stalls, do all these what might encounter in it while on the air. Look at that extended envelope versus for looking at what's her flying which was. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, and appreciate so give this week with Joe.
Thing about diameter, all grades of some we talk about here. That's something that's there. But you need good polished aviation. That just gives them people to do this. And how do you do it? The video presentation. Part of this, we can talk. And you hey, that power, but see they own bid producers. See, here's 10 little specific. Say that one.
Good.
Yeah, I've moved yesterday. Are you still there?
No, right now.
I might have got in the room then. You should do yourself. I think will be best. You've been up with you. I've not seen you do. You show me a lot different. And for everything like that, really more like you. I think that's what it's that videos totally connect with. Enjoy let's keep it.
Pretty lot to on the community. I keep around with this. I will say, like, I'm the expert that you've got here with. It's an honor. I've looked hands on Flickr, not a relative time, but to do a lot of things to me. So, kind of helping group of us, which just is largely in the community. So, me to do the brand that is also show style, and we were like, oh, racks, so portrait a little bit, but it didn't do us. There's things that junior, you don't want to do concurrent after a few years and flying that having the kid was happening. And I go anything around the time, teeny tiny, didn't forget a camera, was able to look at it, just things wasn't good stuff like video were awkward. So, started with the previous one, super shared until 3 hours. So, I to use 6 more times. I learned reimage like deep and shit. One being cheap kind of didn't need to be collected. I was on 2. I didn't one of them. So it was really sharing experience learning. BLC 96 Pascal. Directly the only thing. So we would be there and got also because it's very community. Every D3 ready to time in. A lot of sports and main sporting bad pace yeah, time for a year. So really, yeah, the community actively T4. Before retired, I was on to gym hours. She could do so. To be able and I could read behind the scenes of the presenting food and hopefully her institute showed my chart and guide. Just really sure so much of the community.
It's by giving away some furniture. I would have been actually got a gift giveaway. We're the first to call 888-514-1945-3. Fourth caller to do that with the correct name for this airplane. Here. Let's picture. This is an airplane. I think Steve, this is one. Exactly. Okay. Yep. So we're going to see who's going to the trigger name that one. Now you've trained in a lot of this. One of the really worst Warburg got started in, isn't it?
I guess it would. I'll probably read the big time in the steerman right in the plane.
Okay.
But I'm sure the color man Spitfire and I'm in full Spitfire to fly people.
There's a military transition. The military transition trade people like in the picture if they're ever to be not West field with the team. Next thing they say party minute. So who got who have here on the don't listen to computer. Oh, call you what off here. That's bad. Okay. I can keep numbers on there. It's 1445.
Because it's pretty obvious that if that pick one is the Canadian.
Okay. Always it's called the correct name of that airplane. What's some cool planes that weren't
problems unique thing that was German train. I think it was 1920. No, that's not about it. But everything's all 79 modeling OPAC. That food's so beautiful. So from that airplane, yeah, people in there super balanced control really bad. It's a little has changed, for fundamentally feeling great when you're coordinated. It's amazing. So I think one thing that I've been able to do is types and see how fundamentally one thing, and then muscle reframe say so. When you do you really see some stuff you need, but something you're used to something hard to do. And so it's my experience of my security as the fundamental all different things actually is the same. Just pick up pictures of the community and know what it look like. And it's kind of amazing how much of it is you've done things, those numbers, and that's most of that's fine. That's what I think most amazing about things.
And there's an airplane that's in your bucket list, but before we get down to all, if the phone, listen to the phone, don't listen to there's a lag between the two. So what we have today on the phone.
Hi, this is Ed Wishmeyer.
Ed Wishmeyer, how are you, Ed? Where are you from?
I'm in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, Savannah, Georgia, not far from here. We're up here in Atlanta. So what kind of airplane is that?
Oh, that airplane was a Hamlin Chipmunk.
Got it.
Got it. You got it. Here too. That's a trainer, so we're going to let's in it. But your emails again, guys. Send email there, give your site and your mail address, and we'll shoot these to you. And forget, get all read it. I know often all of a sudden they say, oh, and bang that on the signature, I mean, the symbol side airplane, I believe that Army Air Corps symbol, which would have been an early model that center in. So that would have been Air Corps, you're right, would have been an early model when during the Air Force, the Air Corps not went away and swayed models. And good, pretty signature for that. Okay, so we do have another in China before I can do these tuners. I know it is. So what is it?
Yeah, so we can already find a picture on my phone. I'm looking at the good position of it. But it was called in 1990. Yeah, well, I think it's unique. It's a model. It was a really, but I think this effect. I'm rather from, and I would love to title. I'm now time to go up. Plenty of thousand people that go get me sick. I'm lucky to be able to get that. I'm sleeping. I'm mostly landings. It's like I'm landings. I'm not scared of plane anymore. I still highly respect it. It's point. It's weird. I'm as comfortable as people like I got this super cut the dicks now because so you get really fun in it. Then on for like this. I find the chipmunks have that, and out of time then I had the kind of difference. You can just which looks like the but I still think I get the same stuff. This is actually back to the you're finding this fire apparently easier side like this one. The UTs to watch and like we see your side. It's good things for and over the power on board right over back. And so the brain of the giant radial engine action is now or backfire and if it's farming so really power pistol is you go overall. So you're gonna go around you got touch the family where a while get about to go last minute you can't just hammer it. But for me you got fire you can get that where we want over the start and we'll see how we like to use more power 6 inch method weapons. We make the something a little bit. But yeah, kind of start bow. That thing is likely you put over a mistake I think 6 inch would make with it because I was 3 ounce for something. The teeth is 100. So it's a behavior. So when you move session, it's gonna work. The average the probably some tips, which is that you need sound that full power. I should prepare for actually for check this in my log. Say I'm glad this is Spitfire pilot. It'd be an awesome bucket of stuff. I need to hold it and I'll get that kind of pressure, but I'd love to have an instructor kind of sit with us across and say you did the thing that
the stuff that you said was absolutely accurate from what I've heard too. I've talked with Laura back, but probably pre-P51, PF1 instructor plan, really. And when you guys went up through an ATIS in the military back in the 40s, I mean, that was specifically to get them to step up to a P9 or a P40, P51. And they specifically made those six or P6 as transitional plane. And her speaker, the P51 is actually easier to fly at export and fly getting under the now, Steve, one of the things that always fascinated me about you guys is your ability to tell story. Now, you're a very humble person. You have a talent. You guys are different. You know, not just but these times you walk people died and then you're right after the. I believe that the experience.
Oh yeah, I went to 90s straight to the mystery and that kind of old place time private and commercial don't. Thanks for making or using my hours under not new actions high. But interesting kind to but again I think to effects of innovation and co so to engage right in the aspect. I connect with the learning process and sharing with me. So like more whole life nearly how happy your life. You just cut reading with like the thing we wrote and show it and then show that mistake that where I was about to slap because a lot of times you just can't get around. And that's sticking really with and the things you read how to watch or and having it. We're talking well it kind of the rule, it can happen. The public way of seeing it, but filmmaking see it. So, not to talk about something unless I don't have the job kind of get the footage or visible like it's demonstrated, engaging in a way. That a bit like the vulnerability and just bringing in some action values never there. But honestly, there's times when I'll use TV with thrown away. Camera could get there. It's not happening there. It's good enough. Landing the shell. What trying to do is that's if I can have a thing that I'm not doing right. But the times GoPro footage off so I can set it and get captured actually pros. But so the key is to nothing TV terms. Sometimes when production values get offside, if I have footage that this thing engaging way that really can resonate with the viewer.
You do take a lot of effort early on to lay your shots out and to do a lot of planning. You just go shoot a bunch of stuff and then bring it back in.
Well, this is the thing. I went to film school, filmmaker, where we can build everything, and that is my passion to have that filmmaking or story experience, how reality, which I started to be honest, was a way. This is the first time I felt what happened within the time ago that when he gets frustrated or whatever. So there was more to that, and then that. I want to force something. You probably know before I always said, I always talk about it. I don't know what you're going to mean, but ask me free camera because I'm not desperate. I put one thing all the time. The person is excited about the thing. Oh, yeah, so it's really cool. Tip it up until I want to go. I do, but anyway, I two tablespoons to like, I don't know, I told you about the land. Like, no, I don't want to search shots, but I don't know what's going to go out. So my goal is to try to get and figure out later. So my story is bullet point start, and I made that said, well, I did.
Okay, well, never going to go back to you. She said, help us with our own stuff. You do a job, but that's the there as the bar. Well, Steve was today. We've had fun. This Friday, Wood and Sun. It's supposed to be capping up. One more day to go. Thank you. Next, we've got Patty Wagstaff. She's been before, although this is first time week. So let's see. Go ahead. Hey,
good.
How long ago was that thing together? Was that done? I know it's probably we're doing that.
First, thanks for having me. It's just something on the show. I'm being so the complete ancestor. So the amount of work and work well good. Since 4 nights. So it was 6 months. And the shooting grab and on so the next one come on.
That's a new sign. Oh, you want to be the city of horses.
Sure. I will not direct his I should have to or how he bagged into getting for CFI. It's been people appreciate everybody even if you you need to learn about it, I help you anyway. So I appreciate your shows are really informational, instructional, and so I always do people appreciate what we do.
Sorry for that. Humans of intimating. So you sport a approach you put to who put that?
Ben and I were doing like that. Something that I own. And I thought about who I'm partnering with. We were the first one, coming to mind. And then my first Christmas after I got my license, hadn't ordered anything because so I got my license online. He ordered from Sporty. See the pictures of the headset and the charts and bag and like they broke down. Sporties. So Sporties has been really for and so could have been better and made with is my bet.
Yes, I'm with great ability with video, wonderful stuff. Did you really not sure of it?
Yeah, I had another read, but did get and the segment about trips. I thought that was another segment, but I went to understand these reversing a few more so they, what it's all about, and people who knows. So, but some of the segments like aerobatics today, where do you aerobatics? Military, air competition kind of thing. Airplanes, and kind of we program things at the time. And the train man needs to force someone. So I've been and he's some of them run, some line, so forth, and some there was like each of them they one of them on aerobatic, one news or something for it.
Let's look at the video and come back and talk about where more you there. Let's take a look at that on our head.
Head in the group, double line. The whole line, the aircraft activities relax, and it was decent. This is my favorite maneuvers because it didn't have to do it well. Buildings pivot, hop, will pork, or look directly ahead of the horizon. See the focus, 50, but here, and see all the way to the case orientation. Everything still a vertical line. As much stop and take the airplane vertical line. Look at the end, special tilt.
Okay, the paint like that.
If the we have something,
Sure.
And I don't think I'm studio, I might be wrong. I let people put in this face, GoPros, and so on.
That's also way worse. That would be rule. Basically, did you all know? Do you work with
everybody acknowledging the not that. But I view things there were that made me fast where we just slowed things down. There was some we had to do because I wanted to be perfect worse. But they actually did it.
And I'm back in control. We're in the motor ramp. See, I'm not the only one. Let's take a look at the next segment. How do you do it? Okay, yeah. Very good. I was jail out in. Anyway, let's
2013 advanced categories of competition and aircraft. They're tied. The airplane fall backward with up. And where the plane forwards with wheels down. Often, those will swing back or pendulum to vertical falling through.
That had a verb admonished doing. Thanks so much for this picture. People you where to look at. Let's with course material. There it is. So aerobatics and check this thing out. It's something I think you'll enjoy. So Patty, thank you again. We will be talking again soon. Maybe we'll try to get you back on here in a few more weeks.
Thank you so much.
She's a great person. Pleasure, my pleasure. Strongly recommend that you take a look at the videos, of course, from these. Well, okay, that's a wrap for today. Tomorrow, Tom will be aboard and we'll begin as anonymous. Hunter, Josh Flowers, and Senator Sherman. So keep heads up, smart, and show everyone you're a gold pilot. So long.
This webinar brought you safe and the Gold Seal Online Ground School, where instructors join for free. Visit Gold Seal at onlinegroundschool.com.
Yes.
a great story by Adepts.
Yes. Hello. What's your name?
Hey, it's Rob Lenstrom in Huntsville, Alabama. How you doing, buddy?
Rob, how are you doing? Yeah, don't get confused. If you're listening to the feed on your computer, it's going to be different from what you hear on the phone. So don't let that disorient you. Just listen to the phone. Okay, Rob, what kind of airplane is that? To give it, it's
That's a
so
P-38
easy.
Lightning.
What is it? Yes, it is.
P-38
Beautiful
Lightning?
example of a P-38. Yes, it is. It is a P-38 Lightning at 550 calibers in the machine in the nose. I believe that was an L model, but I'm not positive about that. So, any rate, good deal. You have the same rule here. Email us at prize@onlinegroundschool.com. Put P38L. Give us your size and your snail mail address, and send us a picture of you standing by the DC-3, and maybe we'll send you something else too. All right. Thanks for playing the game.
Hey, how about you?
And thanks for being with us today. So, Dave, are you back here? I'm not sure if we still have Dave's feed.
I don't know if you got the audio. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's
yes,
working?
we hear you loud and clear now.
God,
Now
I got to
it's
tell
working.
you, this week
Okay.
with the bandwidth has been terrible, So anyway, if we can drop one more slide on there, I'll talk about it. I'll get out of your way because I know we got Steve and Patty waiting in the green room, and I don't want to hog any more time. But there is one slide there.
Okay, go for it.
VG diagram. And this is something that any instructor can relate to, which is most pilots fly in that one little comfort zone in the center of the envelope. And if you go down there and fly with Patty Wagstaff, you're going to fly in every corner of that envelope, and you'll learn what loss of control recovery looks like. But, we're all guilty of straight and level, flying here, flying there, and we don't practice enough. So when we get back to flying, I would mention that some good exercises are what we call the extended envelope exercises, which SAFE has developed. And we do turning stalls. We do all kinds of things that a pilot might encounter inadvertently while they're in the air. So look for that extended envelope maneuvers. And if you ever fly with Patty Wagstaff, you'll realize there's no such thing as an unusual attitude for her. She'll fly any which way. So thank you very much, Russ. I think I'll check off so these guys can get on, and I appreciate all the support you've given us this week with the show.
All right. One last thing about that VG diagram. I mean, that's also a great example of something we were talking about earlier. That's not something that you necessarily visualize in graphical form when you're up practicing stalls or something in the airplane. But it's really, if you want to be a good, polished, excellent aviator, it's really necessary to understand that. And this, again, this is a knowledge topic. People actually do need to do this. And how do you prove that you did it? You answer questions on a written test about it. So the VG diagram, a good example. Okay, Dave, thanks for being here, being a big part of this. We will talk to you again tomorrow, and thank you for that. Okay, next up we have our buddy Steve, FlightChops Thorne. Steve is known primarily as one of the leading YouTube video producers. So Steve, let's get you on here. There he is. There's his YouTube channel. Man, look at all the subscribers he has. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
It's good, yeah.
Hey, you look just like you did. Yeah, I don't think you've moved since yesterday. Are you just still there?
Yeah, nobody's moving right now. My hair is slowly growing.
Okay.
What's happening?
I was thinking the wife might have locked you in that room or something.
Yeah,
okay, Steve,
your
YouTube channel, you have described yourself as an ambassador, and I think that's probably the very best way to put it. You have done something unique with video that I've not seen other people do, that you have shown a lot of different training and different aircraft that you've been able to fly, and you've looked at it from a really interesting storytelling type view, and I really think that that's one of the reasons that your videos people really connect with. They really enjoy it. What are some of the different airplanes you've flown? So unusual ones, Obviously there's a Harvard or a T6. Let's keep that video running.
I've been pretty lucky to get a lot of opportunities from the community. Yeah, keep that video running. You don't need to look at my face. But I want to just say, like, being lumped in with some of these experts that you've got me here with, it's an honor. I've logged my 10,000 hours as a filmmaker, not as a pilot. I'm a relatively low time pilot. I've just been very lucky to get to do a lot of things and share those experiences with the community. So it kind of became a self-fulfilling loop of awesomeness, which just is largely because of how amazing this community is. So it's really not me. I'm just the conduit. I mean, the brand is kind of based on a joke. The mustache is honestly a joke. Started off that way, and then we were like, oh, this thing is actually getting some real traction. So we kind of corporatized the logo a little bit and tried to make it fit into a serious thing, because it really started off as just me sharing my debriefs in a 172, just getting recurrent after a few years of not flying. When I got the house and the kid and the wife, all those things happened and I hadn't been flying. GoPros became a thing around that time, and having a teeny tiny set it and forget it camera was amazing to be able to look back at footage. Having started flying in the 90s, just wasn't an option to be able to get a good debrief of yourself. Like, video cameras were big and awkward back then. So what started off as my personal debrief just in a 172 evolved into the Super Cub, where I shared my tailwheel training right from hour zero. And at that point, I had kind of figured out how to use 6 cameras at a time and shoot the pedals and shoot the control surfaces. And I could really see when I was over controlling. And it was really amazing to apply what I was learning by reviewing my footage, almost like a military style debrief, and just sharing that vulnerably and showing people the mistakes. And I really didn't need to be cool. I thought there was enough cool pilots on YouTube. I didn't need to be one of them. So it was really just sharing that real experience of learning and growing. And yeah, I mean, to be able to say I'm now a T6 pilot is kind of surreal. Ironically, that's the only thing I'm current in right now. So it's very weird to be able to have been there and gotten all those cool experiences, but it's largely because the community is a part of it. So yeah, we've done everything from the DC-3 that you invited me to get some time in, lots of different warbird type experiences. I just did the extra 300 backseat checkout and trained for the sportsman routine. So I've got that video coming actually with Luke Penner, who Patty is his mentor. So that's pretty cool to be talking right before Patty here. So really, yeah, the community, and I got to fly with Julie Clark in her T-34 before she retired. So that was a real honor. That's an episode that I shared, brought my daughter out to Sun and Fun, and she got to meet Julie and sort of see a female rock star in the aviation world. And then I got to really see behind the scenes of how Julie does her thing and how she trains. And we went up and flew in her airspace and away from the air show circuit, and went up and did her routine up at altitude. And she showed me how she does the heart in the sky. And just really, it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to share so much of the aviation community.
Okay. Let's keep everybody motivated here by giving away some more swag. Let's go for another T-shirt. We're going to put up an image of an airplane that's actually kind of near and dear to you, Steve, so don't give it away.
Okay.
We're going to show this airplane. The first person to call 888-514-1945, option 3. The fourth caller to do that with the correct name for this airplane is going to win a T-shirt. So let's see the picture. This is an airplane that I think Steve flew this exact one. Is that true, Steve? Is this exact model that you? Okay, that's the exact. Yep. So we're going to see who's quick enough on the trigger to name that one. Now you have trained in a lot of. This is probably one of the first warbirds you got started in, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it would. Well, it's probably newer than a Stearman. Actually, I did get time in the Stearman before I got time in that airplane.
Okay.
But that airplane sure is fun. They call it the poor man's Spitfire. And I haven't flown a Spitfire, but it flies beautiful.
Well, there's a military transition. Okay, there's a military transition that people go through. Generally, they start in a primary trainer like a Stearman, then they'll go to a basic trainer. I don't know if that particular airplane is considered a basic trainer or not, but in the U.S. fleet, it would have been something like a BT-13. And then the next thing might be an AT-6, like you flew Harvard in Canada. So anyway, I do believe we've got a caller. Who do we have here? Listen on the phone, don't listen on your computer. Oh, no caller. He's getting waved off here. Okay. Well, that's too bad. We're okay. All right. Well, we're going to continue to talk for a minute. And if somebody does call in with the name for that airplane, 888-514-1945.
Or the UK variant, because there's two differences that are pretty obvious with that airplane. That particular one is the Canadian variant that we've got.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting to see if we get somebody to call in with the correct name for that airplane, what are some other cool airplanes that you've flown that really weren't available to us mortal people?
Oh man, I don't know. It's hard to even get into that conversation. There's been so many. Um, Probably one of the most unique things that I've flown was a German trainer, and I'm gonna lose track of the name of it. I flew it in Switzerland. I think it was a
The Stork?
1929. No, I can't remember what it's called. That episode is coming. It's in the back catalog of footage, but just amazing to see how it was a 1929 model mono wing, open cockpit, but it flew so beautiful and so harmonized, and a lot like the airplane that you're asking people to name there. Super balanced controls, just real beautiful. And going back that long ago, it's amazing how little has changed, for fundamentally getting an airplane balanced out to really fly with stick and rudder, just feeling great when you're coordinated. It's just amazing. So I think one thing that's been amazing that I've been able to do is fly so many types and see how fundamentally so much of it is the same. And then getting away from muscle memory habits, reaching for the trim in the same place or whatever in a 172, if you can break out of those habits, you can really erase the muscle memory that sometimes trips people up, and they need to be flying. Like, to jump out of one thing you're so used to into something else can sometimes be really hard if you don't do it a lot. But when you do it a lot, and again, I don't have a lot of time, so it's not about my experience as a volume, it's just my experience as diversity has been able to take that kind of the fundamentals from all these different things and see how much of it actually is the same. And you just make a couple quick snapshots of the sight picture before you take off in something different, and then when you're going to land what it's about to look like. And it's kind of amazing how much of it does translate. You can jump in and out of so many things and just know some numbers, and then just most of it is seat of the pants flying. And that's what I think has been the most amazing thing that I've experienced, jumping in and out of so many things.
And I know there's another airplane that's in your on your bucket list, but before we get to that one, we do have a caller. If you're on the phone, listen to the phone. Don't listen to your computer. There's a lag between the two. So who do we have today on the phone?
Hi, this is Ed Wishmeyer.
Ed Wishmeyer. How are you, Ed? Where are you from?
I'm in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, Savannah, Georgia, not far from here. We're up here in Atlanta. So what kind of airplane was that?
Oh, that airplane was a de Havilland Chipmunk.
Got it.
You got it. You got it. You got it. It was a great airplane, too. That was a trainer, so we're going to let Steve mention that just a minute. But at any rate, here's your email address again, prize@onlinegroundschool.com. Just send us an email, put the word chipmunk in there, and give us your t-shirt size and your snail mail address, and we will get these things out to you. And thanks for giving us a call. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. One little trivia point, though. On the P-38, I think that was a Foxtrot model, P-38F.
I thought after I said an L model, I thought somebody's going to come back and say no, and I'm basing that on the signature, the symbol on the side of the airplane. I believe that was an Army Air Course symbol, round L, I don't know what they call it actually, emblem, which would have been an earlier model. Yeah, I see the red dot in the center on that image. So that would have been Army Air Corps. So you're right, that would have definitely been an earlier model. When they went to the Army Air Force, the Air Corps red dot went away, and that's when the later models would have been. So good catch. We'll throw you in something extra for pointing that out. Okay, Steve, you do have another airplane, another warbird that you are trying to prep yourself for by working up through these trainers. I know what it is. What is it?
Yeah. Before we get to that real quick, I did find the picture on my phone. I don't know if you can see. I'll try to get that position there, get the reflection off of it. So I forgot what it's called. It's a 1929. Oops.
Yeah, you got a reflection on there now. We saw it there for a second.
Yeah, very cool. That wing shape is very unique. It's a monoplane 1929 model. Anyway, yeah, that was a really fun, weird thing to fly. What I'm working toward is the Spitfire checkout. My grandfather flew them, and I would like to get a proper checkout, not just a ride. So I'm working on my T6 time so I can show up prepared. a lot of places want to see 50 hours minimum, which for most people is difficult, obviously, to get in a T6. I'm lucky to be in a position to get that. I'm mostly there now. I'm mostly counting landings as opposed to hours, so I'd have to go back and look at the total time in the T6, but I've exceeded 100 solo landings at this point. I'm not scared of the airplane anymore, but I still highly respect it. The T6 is I mean, they call it the pilot maker. At this point, it's weird to say I'm as comfortable as I was in the Super Cub, only because I exceeded the time that I got in the Super Cub in the T6 now, because the Super Cub, somebody prop struck it pretty early on before I had 50 hours in it. And then it went offline forever, the one that I had access to. So I started flying the Chipmunks after that, and got a fair bit of time in them. And by the way, that the bubble canopy is the difference. That's the Canadian variant. The UK variant has the greenhouse canopy, which looks more like a T6 canopy. But anyways, yeah, so working on my T6 time, and I guess apparently most of the guys I've talked to that fly Mustangs and Spitfires say, if you can land the T6, especially from the back seat, if you get your back seat checkout in the T6, which is the instructor's seat, you're going to be fine in a Mustang or the Spitfire. Apparently they're easier to fly, which I guess was on purpose. The military used the T6 to kind of wash out the students. So by the time you got to the fighter, it was just easier to fly, which I don't know. I think the biggest scary thing about the Mustang or the Spitfire is the amount of power, and the P factor will roll right over. If you slam the power on a go around or something like that and you're low and slow, you'll flip right over and die. I think that was kind of one of the scary things about the Mustang. But the training in the T6, because it's this giant radial engine, you actually can't advance the power quickly or it'll just backfire and do nothing for you. And it's just hard on the engine. So the training really is to move the power like this slow as you go to full throttle. So if you're going to do a go around, you sometimes you'll still touch the ground before you go, like in a jet where it takes a while to get the power back up. If you try to do a go around at the last minute, you can't just hammer it. So for me, and you also can't firewall it. You got to be careful. You set the manifold pressure to where you want it, because you can overboost it. It's a supercharged engine, and it's not full throttle at sea level to have. Well, we fly it at 32 inches. Wartime power was 36 inches manifold pressure in the T6, or maybe it's higher, Americans. But anyways, we just stick with 32 inches just so we're kind of babying the engine a little bit. But yeah, you kind of carefully set it there and you go. So that training, I think bringing it forward to the Mustang would make it less likely that you'd flip it over and make that mistake that I think some of the inexperienced pilots would make with the Mustang, because it's, I don't know, was it 3,000 horsepower or something? The T6 is 600 horsepower. So it's a big, heavy airplane.
It was in the 2000s, but it was a lot.
2000, yeah. So when you floor that engine, it's going to have a lot of torque in the Mustang. The Harvard, or the T6, does have that massive prop, which breaks the sound barrier, the tips, which is why it has that really unique sound when it's at full takeoff power. But yeah, trying to show up prepared for an actual Spitfire checkout is definitely my goal. I want to get in my logbook to say I'm qualified as a Spitfire pilot. That would be an awesome bucket list item. I don't need to solo it. I don't think I want that kind of pressure, but I would love to have an instructor kind of sit with his arm crossed and say, you did the whole thing. That's all you.
Well, the stuff that you said was absolutely accurate from what I've heard too. I've talked with Lee Lauterbach about it, probably the premier P51 or TF51 instructor on the planet, really. And that when these guys went up through an AT6 in the military back in the 40s, I mean, that was specifically to get them ready to step into fighters, either a P39 or a P40 or a P51. And they specifically made those T6s or AT6s as a transitional airplane. And again, I've heard this from people who know better, that the fighters, the P51 is actually an easier airplane to fly than a T6 is. But having all that extra torque and P factor, like you say, could get people in a lot of trouble. There's just so much more power. So absolutely true about that. Now, Steve, one of the things that's always fascinated me about your videos is your ability to tell a story. And I know you're a very humble person, but you have a real talent for this. Your videos are different from everyone else's. I mean, it's not just your cuts, but the way you do these asides where you go and talk to people off to the side and then you're right back into the action of the video. I believe you had some video production experience prior to getting in aviation. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, I went to film school in the 90s and went straight into the film industry, and that's kind of what I had always done. So I was a freelance filmmaker, got my license at the same time in film school to be a private pilot, never intended to go commercial, still don't. but flying and filmmaking are both things that I've logged 20 years doing. I did my 10,000 hours, like I said, as a filmmaker, not nearly that kind of experience as a pilot. So it's been interesting to combine the two. So again, I understand to engage, people, it's difficult to convey information in a nerdy kind of way and also tell a story that's engaging. So I've tried to find that balance where I guess, I allow them to connect with the learning process, put them in the seat with me and share the briefings with me and intercut. So instead of like showing a whole briefing and then a whole flight, which linearly is how it would have happened in real life, I'll usually intercut the briefing with the flight, the thing that we talked about, and show it happening, and then show that mistake that I was warned about, and it still happens because a lot of times you just can't get around making that mistake until you really do it, right? But so it's interesting to see a briefing and we talk about what to watch for, and then show it actually happening, and intercut experts talking about the thing while it's happening. And kind of the rule, pics or didn't happen is the public way of saying it, but in filmmaking, it's see it, say it. So, I try not to talk about something unless I'm showing it. And if I don't have footage of it, I kind of just like, I got to get the footage or it's not really usable. Like it needs to be demonstrated in an authentic, engaging kind of way. So that's kind of been the secret sauce, I guess, just the vulnerability, the authenticity, and just, bringing in some good production values never hurts either. But honestly, there's times when I'll use footage that TV would have thrown away, where it's like the camera didn't quite get there yet. It's still not in focus, but the moment is happening and I don't care. Like I want to capture it. It's good enough. But landing on the shot, the thing of whatever I'm trying to capture is happening. And that's if I'm shooting handheld of a thing that I'm not doing, right? But most of the time it's GoPro footage locked off, so I can set it and forget it and capture it if I'm actually at the controls. But so the key is to not think in TV terms. Sometimes when production values get tossed aside, if I have footage that demonstrates the thing in an engaging kind of way that really can resonate with a viewer.
Do you take a lot of effort early on to lay your shots out and to do a lot of planning, or you just go shoot a whole bunch of stuff and then bring it back in?
Well, so this is the thing. I went to film school as a filmmaker where we really controlled everything, and that is my passion, is to have that kind of filmmaking where it's all storyboarded and scripted. But it's been interesting how reality TV, which I started working in a lot and mostly hated, to be honest, does it in a different way, where the producers will map out what they want to have happen, and they want the drama, and they're like, stay on the guy who we know is going to get mad, and like get that shot when he finally gets frustrated or whatever, and they fight. So there will be storyboards to that degree in reality TV. And then they have 20 camera guys just on a thing, whatever show it is, just shoot all of it. And then the editors figure it out later. I've applied some of that wisdom in the sense that I don't want to force something. So you probably have noticed the times we've worked together, you've tried to pre-interview me, and I've always said, I'd rather just talk about the dog right now. I think I know what you're going to ask me, but just ask me for real on camera, because I'm not an actor. I don't want to try to tell the same story twice. So I don't put people in that position either. So oftentimes when I get to the place I'm going to get to start shooting something, the person is very excited about their thing, and they're like, oh yeah, so it's really cool. I'm like, stop right there and tell me about your dog. Until I get the camera ready, I don't want to hear it, because I want it to be real. So with that in mind, I have an idea of what I think I'm going to get, and I have a pretty, if I'm shooting tailwheel stuff, I'll plan to like have a camera mounted on the back looking at the tailwheel so we can talk about wheel landings or three-pointers. Like I know I'm going to want certain shots, but I don't know how it's going to play out. So my goal is to try to get it and then figure out the story later. So almost always my story is a bullet point when I start, and then I write the essay while I'm editing.
Okay, well, I know that we're going to be going back and reviewing the things you said to help us with our own production, because you do a beautiful job of it. And I suspect there's a lot of people out there that kind of hold you as the bar, what they want to try to be like. Well, Steve, thanks for being with us today. Earlier this week, too, we've had fun. This Friday, the last day of what would have been in Sun and Fun, it's almost like feeling like it's wrapping up. We do have one more day to go, but thank you. Next, we've got Patty Wagstaff. She's been with us before, although this is the first time this week. So let's see. Patty, we're going to have you, let's go ahead and bring Patty in. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Okay. We're going to be talking today about your new aerobatics course with Sporties. Now, how long ago was that thing put together? When was that done? I know it's out as a new product now, but were you filming all of that?
First of all, thanks a lot for having me today. It was nice to have something to see on the schedule. I'm used to being, I think, being so busy, and to have the day completely open. It's really nice to have a little structure. So the video came out in February, but we started working on it last August, and so Sporties and I. So it was about a 6-month process to do all the script and the video shooting, the graphics, and so on. So it came out in February, and we're hoping to have the next one out in a couple of months.
That's awesome. Can you tell us kind of an overview on what the objective of this video course is?
Sure. I want people to know what aerobatics is all about. I don't want them to think, oh, it's something only crazy people do, or only airshow pilots do, or, something you have to be dragged in to do, kicking and screaming for your CFI, spin course. I want people to appreciate how fantastic aerobatics is, how it's really for everybody. And even if you are not a pilot, even if you don't want to fly aerobatics, how knowing something about aerobatics can help you in your own flying, and also help you appreciate what you do see at air shows, or if you ever go to an aerobatic contest. So it's really more informational than instructional. And so my goal has always been to get people to really appreciate what we do a little bit more.
Okay, well, the photography that I've seen from it, I haven't looked at the whole course yet, but I've seen a few segments of it, and it's amazing. So did you approach Sporties, or did they approach you to put this together? Who came up with the concept?
It had been in my mind for a long time to do something like this, but it's not something I could have done on my own. And when I thought about who I'd want to partner with, Sporties was really the number one, company that came to mind. I mean, everybody knows Sporties. They're highly respected. My first Christmas after I got my license, my husband ordered all these aviation things. He was so excited that I got my license and I was flying. He ordered all these things from Sporties. He called it a Sporties Christmas. And I have a picture, with a headset and some charts and a bag, and that's all I got. I didn't get any girly stuff. I just got, stuff from Sporties. It was great. So Sporties has been a part of my aviation history, forever. And so I couldn't think of a better partner. And they've been amazing to work with, as you might expect.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they absolutely know what they're doing, and they have great production capability with their video work. They do beautiful stuff. Did you pretty much lay out the structure of it yourself?
Yeah, I had a vision in mind of how the structure would be, but we did discuss it ahead of time. And I came up with the different segments. I really wanted to talk about the history of aerobatics. I thought that was really important, and I think that's one of the more fun segments on there. There's a lot of great historical footage. And I wanted people to understand all the basic maneuvers, and then give them a few more advanced maneuvers too, so that they could, see what it's all about. And for people who go to air shows and so on. But some of the other segments, like aerobatics today, where do you see aerobatics? Military, air shows, competitions, that kind of thing. Aerobatic airplanes is another segment. People really are interested in that. And it was kind of fun. I went to the aviation program. They have an aviation academy at the St. Augustine High School. And the Dr. Angela Masson invited me to speak to 4 classes recently. It was about a month ago or so. And so I brought the video, or I streamed it in the classroom. And each class had a little bit different focus in what they were studying. Some of them were really into drones, and some of them were into the flying more, and so on and so forth, or aeronautical engineering. And I asked them, which segment do you want to see? And there was a segment for each of them that they wanted. One of the classes really wanted to see the segment on aerobatic airplanes. One wanted to see the maneuvers, and so on and so forth. So I thought, this is really cool. There's something for everybody.
Well, I'm sure it was a lot of fun to put together. We're going to take a look at one of the video segments, and then I want to come back and have you talk about how you set up the shots, where the cameras were, any issues you had with air to air. So let's take a look at the segment on the hammerhead.
The hammerhead begins with a quarter loop to establish a vertical climb. At the top of the vertical line, the aircraft pivots 180 degrees around the yaw axis with the rudder and establishes a vertical descent. The figure ends as the aircraft completes a quarter loop back to horizontal flight. This is one of my favorite maneuvers because it demands precision from the pilot to do it well. The vertical line must be perfectly vertical, or else the airplane's pivot at the top will torque or twist. Look directly ahead and pick a reference on the horizon. Establish an airspeed above level cruise flight, approximately 150 to 170 miles an hour. Pull back on the elevator to approximately 4 Gs, and as you pull, look at the left wingtip or the sight gauge for orientation. Hold the airplane still on the vertical line. As the airplane slows to a stop, initiate full left rudder to pivot the airplane to a vertical downline. Looking at the horizon, increase back pressure on the stick until back to level flight.
Okay, the panning shots from the cockpit, how was that done?
So that was done there were several cameras on the plane. So we had cameras on the wing,
Sure.
cameras in the cockpit, outside the cockpit. There were cameras all over. And then we would, I'm not sure, I don't think that was done with 360 video, but I might be wrong. Video part isn't really my forte, but I've got camera mounts all over every plane I fly. So I let other people put the cameras on, and that's what Sporties did. They put all their cameras on. They have all the state-of-the-art, GoPros and so on. And so next time we'll have to get somebody from Sporties on your show to talk about the technical aspects.
Yeah.
And the graphics that they did.
I'm a geek. I'm a geek. I love this stuff. I want to hear, the nuts and bolts of what made it work. So yeah, that would be really cool. The animation, Sporties does great animation. Did they just do that all on their own, or did you work with them on that too, developing the animated scenes?
They provided the technology and the know-how to do that, but I reviewed everything, and there were a few maneuvers that maybe were going too fast, or we had to slow certain things down. There were some minor tweaks that I had to do because I wanted everything to be perfect, of course, as did they. So we worked together on it, but they absolutely did the graphics.
Gotcha. And John, back in the control room, or in the remote control room right now. See, I'm not the only one who does that. Let's take a look at your next segment, and this one's on tail slides. This is something I did. I believe you knew Elgin Wells. Was he? Do you remember Elgin Wells?
Yeah, I knew Elgin.
Okay, yeah. Very, very good friend of mine, and I always enjoy doing tail slides with him and his super decathlon. Anyway, let's take a look at tail slides.
The tail slide is a maneuver seen in advanced categories of competition and also at air shows. There are 2 types of tail slides, one where the airplane falls backwards with wheels up, and the other where the airplane falls forwards with wheels down. Often, the nose will swing back or pendulum past the vertical after falling through.
A very fun maneuver, but you got to really hold on to the stick, don't you?
Yeah, that's why they call them whip stalls, because they whip the stick out of your hand if you get a really good tail slide.
Yeah. I've had that happen, and I got verbally admonished for doing so. Well, Patty, thanks again. Thanks so much for doing this today. This has been a great look at your course. Let's again pop up that screen so people can see where to go look at it. Let's see that slate with the course on there and the course material. There it is. So go to sporties.com/aerobatics and check this thing out. It's something I think you'll really enjoy. So Patty, thank you again. We will be talking again soon. Maybe we'll try to get you back on here in a few more weeks.
Thank you so much,
She's
Russ.
a great person. Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I strongly recommend that you take a look at this new video course from Sporties. Well, okay, that's a wrap for today. Tomorrow, Tom Turner will be aboard and we'll be graced again by Aviators Anonymous, Brian Turner, Josh Flowers, and Spencer Suderman. So keep your head in the clouds, fly smart, and show everyone that you're a Gold Seal pilot. So long.
This webinar is brought to you by SAFE and the Gold Seal Online Ground School, where instructors join for free. Visit Gold Seal at onlinegroundschool.com.